Welcome to the JXN Cloud. I'm Casey.
And I'm Jamin.
And I'm Olivia.
And the JXN Cloud's an online church. This would be what you might call the message, where we hope that you'll discuss it with the rest of the JXN Cloudies, either on our Discord, which you'll find the link below, or in the comments, which you'll find below as well. We're going on a series through the beatitudes, which are these blessed are statements in the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus gives. Today's is, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. All right, so this one, the last few we've kind of had to what does that mean? This one feels a little more straightforward, so I'm curious just where this conversation is going to go. I guess, let's think first off, if Jesus is saying if these other ones that he said have been kind of critiques on the way that the world operates, how could this one be a critique on the way that heaven operates versus the way that the world operates?
Well, I think this is one of the ones that's kind of like a boomerang. Normally, when he says a statement, it feels like it's the opposite of what he says. So throws a statement, but then it comes back to us.
That's usually what it feels like. This one just feels so straightforward where you go, how is this one backwards?
Right.
And I've got an idea, but...
The reason why is because, this one is actually just like a frisbee. It just goes straight forward.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And it doesn't wrap back around. But I think there's if we're thinking of food and a palate, this one has some hidden flavors that you didn't expect.
So what man in analogies, frisbees, boomerangs, food pallets? Where are we going next? I'm just excited.
So, those who hunger and thirst, most of these are, blessed are something that already is, not what you're seeking for. And because this one is a seeking, this is one of those where I feel like he's saying, yes, these are the traits you should seek for, and you will find them. And just having not a trait that you already have, this is something that you're supposed to grow and learn in. And that's how it's different.
Gotcha. He could also be speaking to hungry, thirsty people right that moment. Because when you think of other times, Jesus fed, upwards of 9,000 people after preaching to them for a while. So maybe all their stomachs are gurgling. I mean, it's a Sermon on the Mount. If he had to feed them because he preached too long in the other paragraph passages, and now we're in the 3-chapter passage. What's the D&D time? If one round is like 30 seconds, 6 seconds, and a 10-minute move, how long is a 3-chapter Jesus passage in real time?
So each word, 3 seconds, 4 seconds?
Oh no, he's been preaching for days. Okay. Do you have anything you want to sprinkle in yet?
I have somewhere I can go with this, but I might derail the thought if it's not finished.
Well, I think the only direction I was going to take that I guess would hop off of it is, what if it is boomeranging still? Because people often hunger and thirst for things that don't fill them. So what if it's a critique again on, normally what would we say? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for stuff, maybe, money, riches, a good life, the white picket fence, which is a American ideology, not a gospel one, right? The 3.5 children and so on. 2.5 children, the nice prairie farmhouse and all that. We would think if I hunger and thirst for those things, I'll get blessed, right? I guess there's a lot of my life that has kind of lived that out. So I guess I would be kind of like a mentality that is a natural human mentality that Jesus might critique. I feel, okay, so I'm a musician, but I'm not the type of I just want to learn music to teach it to others. I'm the kind of I want to write music and I want people to hear it and I want the world to hear it and I want a melody to get stuck in people's heads and be yeah, I wrote that. So there's a lot of pride jerk Jamin.
I didn't bring it up this time.
Of young Jamin, that was what I hoped for. And back when Casey thought I was a jerk in college, I could understand why. I didn't want to be in college. I was there because that was the next step before you hopefully got signed to a record label and then became famous. And now none of that even exists anymore due to online streaming and the use of recording software on every computer that exists. It's a long story. But Jamin thinks if I hunger and thirst enough for this thing,
if I want it enough,
if I build it, they will come, like...
Wow, Field of Dreams reference.
I've never seen that movie. I was just saying a thing people say. If I want it enough, then I will be blessed with it type thing, right? I think I learned my lesson most severely when I finally tried to want it to my limits. So for me, I found out that there was a record label that was going to be at Lake Junaluska Campgrounds, West Virginia. And so I packed up the band and headed out there because all indie bands were welcome to come and learn how to build their music journey and things like that. So we paid to get in, we went there, we played for the record labels, they offered their criticism, and then I spent the next 3 days learning strategies and tactics to run business to make money. It was more or less told look, if record labels will sign you if you can show them, be like, here's how much money we made without you, so imagine how much money you can make if we sign you. That's the way record labels work. And I was like, I was in this for the music. I'm not a business person. I don't care about money. I wanted to do music. So the artsy mind not working at all with the business side of things. All that being said, Jesus then comes along and says, what's one thing that you could be hungry for? What's one thing that you could thirst for and actually be filled by the end of it? Well, it would be hungering and thirsting for righteousness that will fill you. So I'll end my story here soon. The one person that I really liked at this event was... the guy who was the tour manager for Creed and discovered POD. So I talked with him later at this event. So those were two big bands back in the day, back when you was just a little tyke.
I've heard of one of them.
Yeah, well, he did not enjoy working with Creed because that's a whole nother story. But he told a story at one point, and he mentioned, I used to want to do the same thing. I'm a tour manager, but what I wanted to do was play my own music, get it out there, things like that. And then one day, I was just kind of playing a little... I don't remember the story very well, it was a long time ago, but more or less, he's probably doing the equivalent of playing an acoustic guitar for a tiny church or a coffee shop and just playing his own music. And he had let go of all those dreams and hopes. And in that moment... was fulfilled for what he was always looking for that whole time. And I wonder if having let go of all the giant prideful stuff and just zoomed in on the meek, humble, what is the reason that I write music? It's for God. Well, it's for righteous reasons that I do this. If he finally found the fulfillment of, this is enough. I don't need all that big stuff. I can just do this. What if that finally, that was the beatitude? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, they'll be fulfilled. Okay, you go into your thing because I just thought of another thing and I don't want to keep going.
Okay, I was gonna mention how we are often supposed to rely on Jesus for our righteous bread, or our epiousios bread.
Supernatural daily bread.
So, those who hunger and thirst for righteousness will be fulfilled. Is potentially something along those lines.
Oh, okay. So, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. If we were to think of Jesus as being righteousness and then bring in the communion kind of aspect of Jesus is our daily bread, which in that case was either daily bread or supernatural bread. Not exactly righteousness, but it would still work because Jesus is righteousness. Then so I wonder, that's a good idea. Could Jesus be feeding this idea of I am the bread of life that will fill you? That's a great segue too. Yeah, it's good. Anybody else? Before I'm going to tangent one more time.
You have my permission.
All right. Susan, I don't think I need to say spoiler alert because I don't think I'm going too far.
What are you about to spoil?
Okay, have we seen the movie, the new Pixar movie?
Soul?
Soul?
I'm not.
Okay. Olivia hasn't seen this, so I'm going to do my best to say this in ways that I don't think would be spoiling. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Twice, actually, already.
Okay, all right. So in Soul, it's actually the guy's journey is the same as mine. Like he wants to be like a famous musician.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that spoils anything. Okay. And it's the general storyline of Soul that when a soul is created, it's given like a purpose.
A spark.
A spark. The spark is like something they really enjoy. In his case, it's jazz music. Like he loves piano. And so in his mind, he's thinking like, that's why I'm on this earth. That's my point, is to play jazz.
Purpose.
Yeah, it does spoil it. So never mind. I'm not going to continue. Dang it. That would have been a good analogy. Wait, no, okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Olivia's going to stop listening. You can leave the room or close your ears. If you've seen the movie, keep listening. If not, yeah, we're just done. Stop watching if you haven't seen the movie. Okay? Close your ears. So Casey, okay, so in the movie, the spark is that like he's going... So in the movie, the spark is that like he thinks the reason he exists is to play jazz, whereas in the end it ends up being like a part of who he is. Is this like huge desire to play jazz. And he's finally fulfilled in the end when he stops focusing on the like, if I hunger and thirst for this enough, I'll get it. Because he does end up getting it, where he's finally kind of working with some famous musicians. And it doesn't feel like what he thought it would feel like.
Right.
After he kind of lets that go, he then is fulfilled by, what was he fulfilled by?
I mean, from what I remember, it was more teaching and more...
Like, yeah.
Well, and just enjoying life as it is.
So I guess if we were trying to analogize it, we would say when we subject our thinking from like, if I want this enough, I'll get it, to I just want Jesus enough, then our other sparks or things that we desire in our lives will then begin to line up with righteousness and be put in the place that they belong. Just like the guy who manages creed finally gives this gift over to God and finds fulfillment because it's been put in line with the righteousness,
right?
Rather than the building it up to that being the desire. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Olivia, you can come back. I guess that's the end of the episode. So where we landed is if you have other desires and stuff, they may not even be bad. Like the desire to play music isn't bad, nor is the desire really for your music to be heard bad. But if it's not subjected to Christ beforehand, it's not going to be fulfilling even, because it won't be in line where it should be.
Right.
So, with that being said, we'll close out. I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia. Thanks for joining us for another episode of JXN Cloud. Leave a comment in the Discord or down here in the comment section, and we'll catch you next time.
No, this should be a thing.
I'm a Southern girl.
That's not a thing.
Oh, she hears us now.
Yeah, she does.
Oh no.
She's cracking up in there. She's fine. She'll be okay.